Hey adventurers, so today is my review for The Eye of the World, book 1 of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. This is a series that I've wanted to read for a very long time, and I'm very excited to finally get to it, trying to get through as much of it as I can before the TV show comes out in November. As with my review for The Tropic of Serpents, this will be more of a thoughts and opinions and feelings about the book rather than a breakdown with using our 5 elements of story breakdown that I will be using going forward for the book analyses. I don't know. So these reviews will be a little bit different, hopefully short. I'm hoping like 5-minute review type videos, something like that. Jumping right in, some of the things that I really liked about this book was the classic fantasy feel. I don't really have a good way to describe it other than that, but it felt like classic fantasy, like Tolkien or even Le Guin has some of that in her writing as well. It feels different from modern fantasy, and I really like that. I also really loved the horror elements that were used in this book. I was not expecting them. When they first showed up, I was like, whoa, this is crazy, this is really weird, this is very unexpected, because I'm used to Tolkien. Tolkien has some horror elements specifically regarding the Black Riders, and Shelob, I guess, but they're generally not designed as horror elements, but they're just creepy and scary. Within this book, they were specifically designed to be horror elements, I guess. They would be if it was something that I would have gotten scared from, I would have gotten scared from them. It's not like they're very well done, very creepy, very terrifying, I guess. I loved the many nods to Tolkien in this book. The two specific ones that I really noticed and were like, this is amazing, this is Tolkien all over again in a Wheel of Time setting, were Black Riders. I felt like there was a great sequence of hiding from the Black Riders as the Black Riders are riding up and down the road searching for the hobbits. I thought it was very well done, and I don't know, I just loved that section of the book and how it followed them throughout the rest of the book as well. And then also there's a section that is, when I read it I was like, oh, this is the Mines of Moria, and I love the Mines of Moria. That the whole sequence in Tolkien's works regarding anything really, but it's that whole Mines of Moria sequence in The Lord of the Rings is so cool, and the way it was paralleled, I don't know, in The Eye of the World was just amazing, and I could envision it so perfectly, and it was very well done. I also absolutely loved the Arthurian and medieval literature inspiration that is very obvious in The Eye of the World. Things like character names, there's plenty of names. I mean, Queen Morgause, or Morgause, or however you want to pronounce that. There's also Gawain or Gawain. Of course, Gawain being the Wheel of Time, Gawain being from Arthurian literature, Elaine being a very common name in Arthurian literature. There was just several things in this story that Arthur Pendrag Hawkwing or something, I don't know how his name is pronounced, but like very obviously taken from Arthurian literature and just inserted into this book, changed just slightly, and I really liked that. At the same time I was reading Eye of the World, I was also reading Le Morte d'Arthur by Thomas Mallory, and so it's very much in my mind at the same time. So I was seeing them in the one and seeing them in the other, and I was like, I understand exactly what he's going for. The other inspiration that I saw was the blood nobility, meaning within medieval literature there's this idea that people who are born to a noble bloodline have an inherent nobility that should make them automatically be able to be better, stronger, bigger knights, whatever it might be. And that idea was also in this Wheel of Time, and I really liked seeing that as well. I loved the characters. I didn't love all the characters, but I liked that all the characters were well done and well established. Each character had their own personality, all that kind of stuff. My favorite characters by far were Lan and Perrin. Lan just got better and better as the book continued, and Perrin, so did Perrin really, but I can already tell that Perrin will be probably my favorite character, or one of them, by the end of the series. He's great right now, but I think he's just gonna get even better as the series progresses. So many interesting things that happen to Perrin in this book. And I forgot to mention when I was talking about the things that I really liked about the book that are used in other stories, is the fact that they have like a world between worlds type section. So this is one of my absolute favorite tropes. It's part of why The Magician's Nephew is one of my favorite of all time Narnia books. It's also why the idea of the world between worlds in works so well with me. It's just, I love this trope and it works so good, and I mean, it can be done poorly like any trope can, but for some reason it's just always so well done, and the way it was done in The Eye of the World was something completely new and different, but still felt very similar to all the other world between world tropes, and I really, really liked it, and it was just really cool to see. As for the things that kind of were a little bit more negative in terms of my thoughts, it doesn't mean bad, just negative, some a little bit bad, I guess, but Jordan I do think is a fairly good writer. I thought that there was some very beautiful scenes of that he had written, very visual, very imaginative, all that kind of stuff, but there was also some phrases that were very, very poorly phrased. Like, I had to stop and reread that one sentence in order to understand, okay, let me use the context of what's going on, the character who's talking or being talked about, all these things, let me try and figure out what this sentence is trying to say, because I have no idea. And I think most of the times when that happened, it was usually because Jordan would use the wrong verb tense, and so it would be a were instead of a was type thing. That's a bad example, but it would be something along those lines, and it would just, my brain would be like, no, this isn't right. This isn't right at all. And so I'd have to stop and think through and try and figure out what was supposed to be said, and then I could move on once I understood what was trying to be said. But there was several of those things, they seemed to stop or slow down, at least the further into the book you got. So, or further into the book I got, I didn't notice them as much. So I think it was mostly just the beginning of the book, Jordan not being as experienced of a writer type thing. But other than those few times when I was just like, what's going on, slapped in the face, completely stopped in this story because I couldn't understand what was going on. Other than those few times where I had to decipher and try and figure it out, I really, really enjoyed the book. I think I don't know that I would rate it a full 5 stars, but it would be a very, very high 4 stars at least, 4.5 or 4.75, something along those lines. It might be a 5-star, but I'm not entirely sure. But I very much enjoyed it and very, very happy to have begun this series. And as you can see, I'm reading the second one already. So that is my review for The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please like and comment and subscribe if you haven't already. We post videos every Monday and Thursday, and we have our social medias linked in the description down below. Thanks for watching. Stay warm.